Your badge number?
Well, I hope it is.
Let's
take a photograph of it, please.
Yeah. Just wondering. I've got to prove it. Obviously, I don't know you from Adam. You could be someone just who's dressed up.
We're not going to do this for fancy dress, are we? Right. As my colleague explained, the reason why we stopped you is because you put the description of somebody acting suspiciously. Right. Now, you've given a legitimate reason why you're here.
Yeah.
Right. But we need to see some ID and some proof that you are here legitimately.
No, I understand that.
Can you see that, please?
I understand that, but on another term, I have actually got human rights.
Is that your vehicle there?
Nope.
Okay. So, what form of identification have you got on you to say you're actually canvassing?
I've got ID on me, but I don't have to legally show it yet because I've not committed a crime.
Right.
Obviously,
we've
had a phone call about, like, said it's suspicious mail, so we need to ascertain whether you say you are, but I take it you're not going to give us your name.
I get this every week.
Verify. Yeah, but you've got to appreciate we get calls from members.
No, I understand that, but I'm doing a job. I'm paying me taxes. I'm earning money. Yeah. I mean, I don't understand. I have not committed a crime.
If you were calling us, surely you'd want us to follow it up, wouldn't you? That's why we've been sent here, to follow it up. We want to be rest assured when we leave here today that you're not up to anything suspicious.
Suspicion based solely on a vague phone call without any concrete evidence of a crime is not lawful grounds for a detention or ID check. The officer's comment about needing to ascertain whether you are who you say you are is problematic, especially since the auditor never claimed a false identity in the first place. The auditor was exercising his legal right to withhold his ID in the absence of reasonable suspicion of a specific crime. UK law is clear: you are not required to provide ID unless you're being lawfully detained under specific legal grounds, such as suspicion of a criminal offense, which the officers failed to articulate here. Fishing for identity based on a vague third-party report opens the door to profiling and abuse of power, especially when no offence has been committed.
I understand it in that way, but I'm not.
Your name gives you ID. We could ring SafeStar, say, and confirm.
Well, you can ring SafeStar and you can ask them if if you've got canvases in this area, and they'll validate who I am.
And what's your
but
name?
obviously, I'm not giving it out.
Well, when I ring up SafeStar UK and say you've got canvases, and they say yeah,
they know I'm in this office. They know I'm around here because we get issued to a certain area, and they keep both names of the people.
So where's your ID card?
It is on me, but I don't have to show it. I've not committed a crime.
We're going round in circles here, aren't we, chap?
No, I don't mean human rights, mate. I've not committed a crime. Obviously, you're putting me under alarm and distress now. You both cover it going round there. Obviously, you're trying to say that I have to show my ID.
You're putting me under alarm and distress.
How am I?
You are ID. We've shown you our ID. So
yeah, but at the end of the day, you're a public servant.
Instead of acknowledging the auditor's lawful position that he's under no obligation to provide ID, without suspicion of a crime, they continue to badger him and then bizarrely claim he is causing them harassment, alarm, and distress. That is both ironic and deeply troubling. How can trained officers backed by uniform and power claim distress because someone calmly asserts their rights? Worse still, when challenged about their own demands, one officer tries to justify the imbalance by saying, "We've shown you our ID." That's not the issue. The problem is their relentless push for his details without legal basis. They try to paint themselves as the victims, flipping the dynamic completely when in fact they are the ones escalating and harassing. Their circular reasoning and inability to accept a lawful refusal is not just poor policing, it's abusive.
I may be a public servant, but I'm not your servant.
No, I didn't say you were my servant, did I?
Okay.
I said, but if you're walking around with a police uniform which gives you powers...
Stop going on about YouTube. It's like this public servant, okay? I'm not a servant. I'm a police officer.
Yeah.
Okay?
Which means, but you serve the public.
I'm a police officer.
Right.
Okay. Police officer. I'm not a servant.
Yeah.
So let's get that quite clear before we start.
Well, there's no need to get angry, is there? Because now you're putting me under alarm and distress. Now I feel threatened.
Officer's response: I might be a public servant, but I'm not your servant. I'm not a servant, I'm a police officer, is a display of egotism and entitlement. It completely undermines the foundational principle of policing, that officers serve the public, not themselves, by trying to separate his role from service. He's revealing an inflated sense of authority and a deep misunderstanding of his duty. What's even worse is that this remark doesn't come in isolation. It comes after persistent pressure, intimidation, and a refusal to respect the auditor's lawful rights. The tone is dismissive, confrontational, and laced with superiority. In that moment, the officer isn't just refusing accountability. He's actively rejecting the very principle of democratic policing And that has a real emotional impact on the auditor, especially when he's done nothing wrong. It adds to the harassment, alarm, and distress he's already feeling.
What, you feel threatened?
Yeah, hence why I'm recording it, just in case anybody's trying anything cheeky.
That's fine.
I've had it before where police has thrown me on the floor for asking him, have you got ID?
So police officers thrown you on the floor?
Yeah.
And that's for ID.
I've asked for him.
I find that very strange.
Well, not all coppers are legitimate, are they? Not all coppers are nice. So at this moment in time, am I detained?
That's right.
What for? What am I being detained for? Have I committed a criminal offence? I've not committed a criminal offence. How can you detain me? Because then you're holding me hostage. You're now restricting my free way of movement, because now you're saying I'm being detained for a crime I've not committed. I will just literally. I'll send this to me my lawyer, mate. This is going straight to my lawyer.
First things first, we're recording it.
Yeah.
Has it just picked up the word that you just said to me?
Yeah.
Right. This is your first and last warning. You swear at me again, you'll be arrested. Do you understand me?
Yeah, but I'm asking why am I being detained?
Listen to me. Are you going to listen?
I'll listen, but I want you to listen to my point of view.
Detained at this moment in time.
Yeah.
So we can speak to the caller.
Yeah.
Because as I said, you fit the description of a person seen acting suspiciously.
Yeah.
Right? Now, until we speak to the caller and fathom out what the caller says to us, you're not going anywhere.
Right, so you're detaining me against my own will from a crime that I've not committed.
This is a blatant misuse of police powers, detaining someone without clear lawful grounds, simply because they fit the description of someone acting suspiciously with no evidence of a crime committed, is not just sloppy policing, it's a direct infringement on civil liberties the officer openly admits. That the detention is based purely on the word of a caller, and that the auditor will remain detained until they figure out that is not how the law works. You cannot detain someone on a hunch or based on vague suspicion, without reasonable objective justification under UK law. Particularly PACE, an officer must have reasonable grounds to detain, not just because someone called in and said, a person looks suspicious. What this officer is doing here is treating the auditor as guilty, until proven innocent, flipping the entire principle of justice on its head. You are Mundazir. This officer's response is really bad and shows a shocking disregard for lawful procedure and the rights of individuals. Instead of acknowledging the auditor's valid concern about being illegally detained, the officer casually suggests, how about you walk away and we'll follow you, as if that somehow resolves the issue. In reality, this makes it worse. Surveillance without legal justification is a form of harassment, especially after the auditor has clearly asserted his right to be left alone. What the officer is essentially proposing is an informal, unspoken stop tailing someone in the hopes of justifying their suspicion later, rather than acting on lawful grounds in the moment. This is a textbook example of policing by intimidation. If the officer doesn't have the power to legally detain someone, then shadowing them under the vague possibility of needing to speak again is not only unreasonable.
Are you going to admit that now on camera, that you're detaining me when I've not committed an offence?
I'm detaining you till we speak to the caller.
Yeah.
See exactly what the caller says you have or haven't done.
Right, but technically you can't detain someone if they've not committed a crime, because then that's holding them against their own will.
Well, once we speak to the caller,
yeah, but now
the crime has been committed, then I'll tell you what's going to happen next.
So you're actually admitting you've illegally detained me for a crime I've not committed?
We haven't illegally detained you.
Well, if you've not detained me, then I'm free to go.
Tell you what, walk up there and we'll follow you then if we need to speak to you again.
Well, then it's harassing.
Off you go.
But then it's harassing.
It's not harassing.
No, what I'm saying is, if you'd like to leave,
right.
if you'd like to leave now and walk whichever way you like, carry on. And if I need to speak to you at a different time, I'll come after you and have a word with you.
Here, this comment from the officer, suggesting the situation wouldn't have escalated if the auditor had simply identified himself, reveals a deeply flawed mindset. It shifts the blame for their own poor policing onto the individual asserting their rights. The auditor hadn't committed a crime, made it clear he was working, and explained his legal position, yet instead of respecting that the officer acted like the auditor's refusal to roll over was the real issue. What this really shows is an ego problem. The officer couldn't handle being told no, and rather than taking a step back to reassess the situation lawfully, they doubled down and implied that the auditor was the one prolonging the situation. It's a dangerous line of thinking, one that encourages officers to treat noncompliance with demands as justification for detention or further escalation.
I'll just put a complaint into IPCC.
That's fine. That's fine.
Because obviously you're illegally detaining me for a crime I've not committed. So obviously, like I'm going to ask again, am I being detained for a crime? Because obviously now no one's answering. If I'm not being detained for a
I'm
crime...
just in process of speaking to your manager.
Right.
If you'd like to walk away, you are free to walk away. And if that's pertaining to a crime, I will come after you, won't I? It's up to you, sir.
I'm not going to turn me back. I'm not going to turn me back on officers so you can body slam me.
Do what you'd like. I don't think I'm capable of body
Hey, there's police out there that body slam people for the fun of it.
when he's asking for an officer's ID.
So you've illegally detained me, you call me a liar. Yeah, but now you've also illegally detained me. So wait until IPC.
We're going around in circles. Twice I've said, if you'd like to walk away, walk away.
Well, just for the camera, have I been committed as a crime? Right, so I've not committed a crime, so... Well, you've given me permission to walk away. I'm not, mate. I'm not, mate. Now you're making lies about me. You've also illegally detained me, like I said before, when he says you're now detained. For what crime? He couldn't give me a crime. So he's legally detained me on the spot. He's also kept me hostage. So I do know my rights, and this will be going to IPCC. I will be sent it to Milan. I'll wait until it's all over line. I don't need the log number. I've got your badge numbers. Because I don't trust it. I don't trust the fact I can walk away with you.
Had you shown us your ID in the first instance, I don't think it would have taken this long. So when you're talking about being...
Yeah, but I don't have to show my ID if I've not committed a crime or I'm on suspicion of crime. I've not committed a crime. I'm working.
That £35,000 compensation payout speaks volumes not just about the damage done to Curnow, but about the scale of misconduct by the officers involved. This wasn't a slap on the wrist moment. It was a serious legal reckoning. Courts don't issue that kind of payout unless rights have been severely violated, and this case proved exactly that. The fact that one officer was outright fired, another suspended for 2 months, pending further investigation, and a third left under internal review despite a slap on the wrist shows this wasn't a misunderstanding, it was systemic failure by officers who either didn't understand the law or didn't care from the very beginning of the interaction. The officers showed a dangerous combination of arrogance and ignorance. They approached with suspicion based purely on a vague phone call, and instead of investigating with professionalism, they went straight into demanding ID, without any lawful grounds. When Colonel rightly stood firm exercising his basic rights, they escalated the situation with force and detainment, not because it was justified, but because they couldn't stand being told no. The male officer's comment about not being a servant sums up the attitude and inflated ego that has no place in modern policing. The female officer's lines suggesting things would have gone smoother if Curnow just gave and only reinforced how little they understood about civil liberties. That isn't policing, it's coercion. Their misuse of power's unlawful detainment and desperate attempts to justify it, all by following up with the caller, exposed their total lack of proper procedure. It wasn't about law, it was about control. And when their attempts to twist legislation failed, they doubled down with even more disrespect, suggesting Colonel was the one wasting time, but in the end it was their actions that cost them dearly, not just reputationally, but legally and professionally. This entire episode is a warning shot to any officers who think they can bluff their way through the law. It's also a powerful reminder to the public. Never be afraid to assert your rights, stay calm, and document everything. Colonel's firm stance, legal knowledge, and refusal to be intimidated led to real consequences for those who abuse their power. It shows exactly why public accountability matters, and why knowing the law is your greatest shield against unlawful policing. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me continue with my independent coverage. Also, don't forget to check Colonel Audit. His channel is linked in the description. Show him some love. Thanks for watching. This was Rate the Audit, and I'll see you in the next.